Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Edward Tsinovoi, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of iRiver. Today, with the official launch of our company, this webinar will focus on iRiver. I'm glad to have with me Michael Hakimi, my co-founder and CTO of iRiver, together with Amos Ben Yaacov, the guy who is responsible on the commercial side in iRiver. Guys, in case you have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat during the session. About a year and a half ago, Mickey and I founded iRiver. We bring with us over 20 years of experience in the inside the industry, primarily in a deep tech space. Before starting our journey with iRiver, we led an organization in Akamai responsible for Akamai core platform. Among other things, our organization was responsible for Akamai performance and the development of Akamai edge computing. We built a core team based on the best people we have worked with in the past 20 years and set our journey out. The internet world has experienced several revolutions in the past 20, 30 years. At the end of the 90s, CDN providers spread thousands of servers worldwide to deliver digital content to end users. While in the past, most digital content was static, today it has become much more dynamic, much more personalized. With the revolution of generative AI, it's amazing how easy it has become to generate digital content. We are facing a tsunami of digital content that needs to be accessible to the world. However, the industry that delivers digital content is still rooted in the worldviews of 90s, including the concept that all global traffic must pass through a single CDN provider. The concept which slowly collapses in recent years and for sure could not meet the challenges of today. So before we are moving forward, I will be happy to get your feedback regarding the question whether you are considering to use multi-CDN, whether you are using multi-CDN or not yet. So let's give it a few seconds to collect the different answers, and you can see how it's jumping during this time. Okay. So let's go with the results. So we almost 70% of the audience here are considering to use multi-CDN in the near future. I think it's a great result. For companies with significant online service, the dependency on a single provider is a major issue. It starts with outages, downtimes, global ones, which we read on them in the news, but also local ones, which occur on a daily basis, each time in a different location. For companies, these outages causes a damage of hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. For giant companies like e-commerce leaders, every minute of downtime costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. In terms of performance, industries which are sensitive to performance, such as online gaming, e-commerce, cannot really achieve a competitive performance by relying on a single vendor. In any given place, at any given time, for any type of traffic, another provider will provide a better performance. And finally, from financial perspective, companies are sensitive to costs in these days. Edge cost is really heavy, and it's very difficult to reduce it when you are locked in single provider without a way out. However, the transition and the ability to work in architecture of multi-CDN is complicated, expensive, and causes companies to defocus. As a team in a large e-commerce company told us, we need reliable internet, but our focus should be to close more deals and not to build a reliable internet by ourselves. So guys, from these aspects, from the mentioned pain points, which one, in your opinion, is the most significant and leads to adoption of multi-CDN? Looks interesting results. A little bit surprised, at least myself, that performance is taking so high. I would expect, honestly, to see there are more costs and a little bit more outages. Okay, so So it's a little bit surprising. We see that first of all that the results are really diverse, and based on our experience, there are verticals and there are companies which are more sensitive to cost. There are companies which are more sensitive to performance, and definitely companies which are sensitive to reliability and resiliency. The first challenge if you want to adopt a multi-CDN strategy, so the first challenge is in the transition to work with multiple vendors, is in the fact that the common functionality between the vendors is really minimal. And practically, it includes basic content delivery and the caching capabilities. Companies which are using more advanced functionalities, and most of the companies or most of the customers are using most advanced functionalities, are become locked in such vendor. Customer who is interested in using multiple vendors needs to integrate with multiple parallel platforms, and they are really different between each other. Therefore, giant media, gaming, and e-commerce companies are building entire engineering teams to implement this architecture and work in this solution. They manage to work in such architecture, but large and medium-sized companies struggle to do so. The second challenge arises from the fact that each one of the providers now sees only a portion of the traffic. As a result, functionalities such as load balancing are broken or at least work suboptimal. Security solutions like rate limiting become inefficient when the provider handles only part of the traffic, and this part changes all the time. Mickey, could you help me to share how iRiver is dealing with these kind of challenges?
Sure. Hi. So this is where iRiver comes into play. At iRiver, we developed the Virtual Edge, which is a comprehensive and unique solution of multi-edge platform as a service. Our platform consists of three main layers. The first layer is the traffic steering. It provides customers with the ability to optimize their performance, their service reliability, and cost by efficiently splitting their traffic between multiple edge providers. The second layer is the management layer. The management layer enables customers to manage, configure, and monitor all their edge providers via a single UI and a single API. The customers, from his point of view, manages one platform, while in reality, he leverages multiple edge providers in a transparent way. In the third layer, our platform provides a collection of applicative services. Services in areas such as security, traffic control, edge computing, and these services operate in a consistent and optimal way, even when the traffic is split between multiple providers. These services are implemented on top of the edge compute technology, which was recently introduced by the different edge platforms. Our solution is unique in the market. Currently, the alternative that customers have is to build their own proprietary solutions, which is much more complicated and expensive. As Edward mentioned, it requires large teams to maintain it, and some giant companies chose to go via this path, but for many other companies, this solution is not feasible. Thanks to our platform, customers were able to save an average of 40% on their CDN expenses. Some customers already saved hundreds of thousands of dollars within just a few months. At the same time, they managed to improve their performance significantly and improve their service availability. And they are no longer depend on a single provider to deliver their entire traffic. Customers using our platform, they fell in love with it. They immediately understand the power that this platform provides them, and they are not willing to give that up. We recently had a very interesting demo with a director of networking at some global bank company, and we presented him with our demo, and his response was that this is just too good to be true. Amos, moving to you for the commercial part.
Yeah, just to add the commercial. Now I think you can hear me better.
to add the commercial and business-wise approach, we offer the flexibility to choose the best fit for any customer in any segment. In order to do that, and after exploring the market, the field, we realized that we can divide the existing situation or the current status of customers into two main groups. The first one is the ones, the minor, the small group is the ones that have already has two vendors to serve them. In general, we call them bring your own account, and then what happens is that we can orchestrate and synchronize the two vendors into one platform, as it was described and will be described in the demo, and gain the capabilities of orchestrated monitoring, service, configuration, logging system, and so on. The second option is to allow the customer to engage with his trusted advisor or trusted integrator. That allows them to leverage the already negotiated pricing or relationship that they have without any interference from our side. The other group is the group that the majority of customers that we meet in the field that actually has only one main provider. In this case, they face the need to add the second provider, and the option that we provide them, we offer them, is our ability to our leverage and ability to aggregate and partner with some of the partners, some of the CDN vendors that we work with. And in this method, we already have the ability to lower the price by committing to high levels of volume and to leverage it down to the customers. So to make a long story short, we really want to be as simple and easy to integrate with and adapt to the best fit to the customers. Back to you.
Okay, so let me introduce you to our platform so you can get some sense of some of the things that we've discussed so far. So when you log into our system, the first page that you see is the Services tab. The Services tab presents you the list of services configured in our system. A service in our system represents a logical portion of your traffic. It is kind of equivalent to a CloudFront distribution, a website in Cloudflare, a property in Akamai. And as you can see here, I have two services. We will dive into them in a minute. But first, I would like to show you the CDN Providers tab. In the CDN Providers tab, we set up all the CDN accounts that we want to use. So here I have 3 CDN accounts, and I can easily add another one. So for example, I pick Azure CDN. All I need to do is to provide my API credentials of Azure CDN, and I will immediately be able to work with that in iRiver platform. We support a large list of CDN providers. All the major CDN providers are here. We support 15 CDNs, different CDNs, and we keep adding more to this list. Moving forward to the TLS certificates tab, here we provide the ability to manage all your certificates in one place. So you can create a certificate here in our platform, and we will make sure to deploy that certificate within all your CDN providers. And also, when it comes the time to renew that certificate, we will make sure to do that for you as well. So just as an example, let's create some certificate. Give it a domain. And next. And now I just need to resolve this DNS challenge, and I will get certificate. The certificate here is in pending state. Once we resolve the DNS challenge, it will be fully created and valid and deployed within all my CDN providers. Going back to the Services tab, let's click on one of the services and see how it looks like. So when we enter to this service, we see our traffic dashboard. And in the traffic dashboard, we support different types of views. We have two views here, the holistic view and comparison view. The holistic view provides us a high-level view of all our traffic as aggregated stats between all the CDN providers. So we see here the full picture of all our traffic as if we are managing a single CDN. But if we click on the comparison view, we get a breakdown per CDN, and we can compare the statistics and the performance that each one of them provides us. There is also a breakdown per geolocation, and also per hits and bytes. Interesting thing here is that for some of the providers, we provide much richer statistics than the providers themselves. So, for example, if some of you are CloudFront users, you probably know that CloudFront provides very minimal set of statistics, but here we are able to extend these statistics and provide much richer data. The next tab is the CDN providers tab. So here I can manage the CDN providers that I would like to use for this specific service. So if you remember, in the CDN accounts tab, we had 3 CDNs. Here I have Fastly and CloudFront, and I can add also Cloudflare. So I just need to pick Cloudflare and click on the add button, and automatically all my service configuration will be deployed on Cloudflare, and I will be able to use it instantly. Under the traffic policies tab, I'm able to manage how my traffic is divided between all the providers. So in iRiver, we support 3 types of policies. If you want to have full control, you can use the static policy. In the static policy, you simply define weights, percentage of traffic that you want to route to each one of the CDNs, and we will act accordingly. If you are sensitive to performance, you can use the dynamic policy. The dynamic policy, iRiver automatically chooses the best performing CDN in each geolocation, and you can significantly improve the performance of your service. If you are more sensitive to cost, you can use the cost-based policy, and let's see how it looks like. So if we click on add policy, we first pick the providers that we want to use. Let's pick cost-based. And let's pick some geolocation. So for example, France. Next, here I can enable failover. So if there is some issue has been detected in one of the CDNs, my traffic will be automatically routed to the second CDN. Under performance penalty, we are able to provide the flexibility to compromise between performance and cost. So, for example, if I define 10%, the system will use the cheaper CDN for me, as long as its performance is within the 10% range. And here I now define the priorities between the CDNs. So let's assume that CloudFront is cheaper than Fastly, so I will simply put it at the first priority. So now CloudFront will be used as the first priority as long as its performance is within the 10% range. Click Apply Policy, and now I see that a new line has been added to the table for France using cost-based policy. The next tabs are more related to CDN configuration. So we have here the Domains tab. I can set up here all my domains. And of course, everything that I configure here is automatically deployed within all my CDN providers. The system automatically makes sure that all my CDN providers' configuration is aligned. Under origins, I can add more origins to my configuration. Under behaviors, we can configure custom rules for my traffic. So for example, if I click on add new behavior, I pick new action, I have here a long list of actions which I can apply for my traffic. Interesting thing here is that we don't use the common minimal functionality between the different CDNs. We provide much richer capabilities. So for example, if we have redirect to URL, if you're a CloudFront user, you probably know that this functionality is missing in CloudFront, while in the other CDN providers, this is kind of basic. So in iRiver, you get this functionality out of the box, and for CloudFront, what we do, we just complete this missing functionality by using edge compute. So as a general guideline, we provide much richer capabilities for all the CDNs, not just the common functionality. Under the monitoring section, we are able to define both availability and performance monitoring. We use a set of agents which is spread around the world in order to monitor the performance and availability of your traffic. So if we will go to availability tab, we see here the availability for my CDN providers, Fastly and CloudFront. We can see there were a couple of drops in the last hour, but most of them are 100% available. If we look at the last day, we see that there were additional drops in availability. And if we will use the automatic failover in the traffic policy, the system will make sure that traffic is routed to the second CDN in order to improve our service availability. Under the performance tab, we see a comparison of performance between the different CDNs. We have each line of graphs for each one of the CDNs. And we also have the blue line. The blue line represents the performance that you will get if you will use iRiver's dynamic policy, which will automatically select the best performing CDN in each geolocation, and you can see the potential performance improvement. Under the cache management, we can run purges, and of course, every purge request that we do from here will be automatically done on all CDN providers. And this is, of course, also available via API. We support API via Python, Go, and of course, Terraform. Everything that you see here, you should be able to configure via Terraform. Under security services, we provide security services like WAF and rate limiting. The thing here about security is that we provide consistent security services. We provide consistent WAF that behaves exactly the same no matter which CDN provider your traffic is going through. In rate limiting, we provide global rate limiting. So if you use the different CDNs rate limiting, the rate limiting will simply not work because each one of the CDNs sees a portion of your traffic. But with our rate limiting, we are able to provide global limit. Under traffic control, we provide load balancer capabilities, origin load balancer, so you can control how your traffic is routed between the CDNs and your origin servers. You can define here multiple policies and also custom rules. Under edge compute, you can write your code once. You can write code once, and it will be automatically deployed within all your CDNs. We will make sure to do all the required adjustments for your code in order for it to be able to execute on all of the different platforms. As you know, they are different. And with iRiver, you are able to write your code once and also to test it once. Under logs, you can configure logs streaming, so you will get a unified format of all your logs. We will make sure that all your logs will come in a unified format, so you will not need to worry about all the differences between the different platforms. I think this covers in a high level the capabilities of our platform.
Thanks, Mickey, for the demo. And now it's time to take some questions.
Okay, guys. So first of all, thank you for attending to our webinar. I wish that you enjoyed so far. So I collected several questions. They came through the chat, which I would like to pass to one of my teammates. So the first question is about traffic. I would like to pass it to Mickey. Mickey, someone asked is, does traffic actually go through iRiver platform?
So traffic is not going via iRiver's platform. We manage the traffic split via DNS. So when you onboard to iRiver's platform, you simply modify the CNAME, the CNAME record of your domain. Instead of routing it to the CDN directly, you change it to a CNAME which is provided to you by iRiver. And we manage this CNAME. We managed how traffic is splitted between the different providers via this CNAME. So the HTTP traffic itself is not going via iRiver.
Okay, so next question, I will pass it to Amos. The question is,
what happens if I'm already committed to a specific CDN provider? Then I use my existing account. What is my benefits of using iRiver platform?
Yeah, good question. It's a common practice to find customers that have committed to their provider, and we have to consider it. So it's part of the policies that we're able to offer customers. We have the static policy, the dynamic policy, and the cost policy. The cost policy can consider the commitment that the customer has committed with his vendor, and it's not that we have to consume the commitment as a block. We just add it as part of the calculation as the algorithm, and it will be spread around the month according to the optimal performance. So commitment is not an issue for us. We can handle it quite well.
Okay, so we have a few other questions here. The next question I will pass to Mickey, and the question is, what happens if I already have an existing configuration defined for my existing CDN account? How complex is the process of the onboarding?
So it shouldn't be too complicated. What we do as part of our onboarding process, using our management dashboard, you can import your configuration. Once you configure the CDN account, you can import your configuration to iRiver. So new services will be automatically created for you with the configuration that we imported. And after that, you can just simply add additional CDN providers. Once everything is set up, you just modify the CNAME. Instead of being directly routed to the CDN you're currently using, change it to iRiver, and that's it. You're on board.
Okay. So the next question is, in a failure scenario, we should expect traffic surge at the origin since cache traffic won't be available, or do we have any pre-warm strategy for failover cases? I guess that I will pass this question to Mickey. Yes, in a failover scenario, we should expect traffic surge at the origin since cache traffic won't be available, or do we have any pre-warm strategy for failover cases?
Very good question. So in order to prevent origin spikes in case of a failover, no matter the traffic split that you define, we always make sure to keep very small percentage of traffic on the second CDN. And this approach makes sure that the second CDN always has caching, which is warm, connections, open connections to the origin, so that in case of a failover, we will be able to switch traffic to this second CDN provider without any performance impact or origin spikes.
Okay, thank you for that. And the next question I will pass to Eddie. What's the pricing model? Do you have a disaster recovery plan should your solution experience an outage? Is your solution valid for any kind of content, static and dynamic like media?
I'll take it. Okay.
Okay.
So the pricing model depends on the volume delivered by the CDN, the different CDN providers to their customers, and it's a percentage out of it, depending on the volume, of course. So there are different tiers, but this is the relationship. There's a relationship between the management cost and the delivery volume. What was the second part of the question? You lost it.
Yeah, so the second part of the question was, do you have a disaster recovery plan should your solution when your solution experience an outage?
Yeah.
I will take this one. So first of all, like Mickey has explained, iRiver is not in the critical path for your traffic. So in case that the iRiver is experiencing a disaster recovery, the traffic will continue to route from the end users to the CDNs and from the CDNs to the origins without any impact. Beside that, of course, we have a disaster recovery plan, and we are guarantee at least 4 nines for our management platform. That's it. I think I answered the second part. Yeah, and right. You had also a question regarding static and dynamic content. Yes, our platform is supporting static and dynamic content. There are different needs for each one of these types of traffic, and our platform can take and handle these needs accordingly.
There is last question, which is also very interesting. I will pass it to Mickey. The question is, according to your surveys at the conference, performance concerns are the most prominent. Could you elaborate on how iRiver proposed to address these issues?
Yes, so in iRiver, we provide performance monitoring, which is done on your traffic. So you can configure different performance monitoring for your traffic. Our platform will measure the performance of your traffic from various geolocations. And you first have visibility to this performance. It will provide you comparison of all the CDN providers, how they perform in each geolocation. And you can also use the same monitors when you configure a dynamic policy. So you configure a dynamic policy as part of the configuration. You provide the monitors that you would like us to use in order to decide what is the best performing CDN in each geolocation. So the system will use the results of these performance monitors and will decide on the which CDN should be used in each geolocation according to that.
Thanks, Mickey. Thanks, Amos, for your answer. Thanks, Rui, for helping us to orchestrate the questions. I would like to thank you guys, the audience, everybody that participated in this session. It was a pleasure for us to introduce iRiver. Thank you very much. Of course, thank you very much to you guys for helping me to make this session. And I hope to see all of you next time in our next webinar. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye-bye.